Welcome, theatre addicts. My name is Danielle Benson, and I am here with some of the cast and creative team of the Auguries of Innocence by Orthona Theatre, and they are playing at the Culture Historic at the part of the Vancouver Fringe this year. So welcome, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And I'm going to get you to introduce yourselves if you don't mind,
Okay.
because I think I remember your names, but I just want to make sure. Can we start with Kendrick?
Yeah, Kedrick, no N. Kedrick James, and I play the role of William Blake.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yes.
I'm William Rubel. I wrote the play.
Thanks, William.
Yeah.
My name's Allison Hall. I play Jen.
Great. So we've got two actors, Kedrick and Allison, and the writer and creator of it all, William, in the middle here. So the Auguries of Innocence is it's not based on the life of William Blake, but it incorporates a lot of his themes. Could you tell me a little about that?
I wrote my dissertation on Blake at UBC. I spent like 8 years on it, and so I know a lot about him, and he's like a vast figure. He's kind of considered one of the top 100 Britons to ever have lived, but during his lifetime he was unknown, poor, considered mad. So it's a very interesting story, and he's not only a poet, but he's a painter, and his visual art is incredible also. I decided to take the plunge and write a play about him, but it's not a historical play. It's kind of tries to kind of bring him into modern life and show his impact on a family. There's 3 couples across 3 time periods, and they're all on stage on the same time. And the Blake and Catherine figure are like the most larger than life. And the play has a lot of like serious moments, but a lot of like wild poetry also.
So for poetry geeks like me, it's going to be an amazing experience.
Oh, totally.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
I can't wait. So excited. That's fantastic. So it's the kind of frame story spans 3 generations?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do each of the actors play multiple roles, or do you guys each have a
We each have a set role.
each have a set role?
Yeah. So we have William Blake there in kind of the first couple with his wife Catherine, and then Jen and Leaf are sort of the most modern couple, I would say, because they're kind of the story you follow from present day. And then you have Aaron and Saul. That are Leaf's parents. So you kind of get to see everything through Leaf's mind, but sort of this crazy jumble of these 3 different couples.
Yeah.
Cool.
Jen and Leaf go to the cabin where Leaf's father's life ended, and they consume magic mushrooms, and that leads them into the Blakean universe. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So does it kind of go backwards and forwards a little bit?
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
A lot?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a trip for us as well. No mushrooms first, though. Just a trip of theater.
I have tried to persuade them to do method acting. No takers so
Hasn't
far.
been very
but,
effective, no.
no
Is it
takers,
still acting
but-
then, though? Like, if you're doing everything that the characters are doing, is it still acting? I don't know. It's a good
point.
excuse, though.
It's a good point. It's a good excuse. One doesn't really need one, but it's handy to have one. You know, at a moment's notice, pull out your excuse. This is method acting. What are you kidding?
So, William, you wrote the play and you're producing the play, and you auditioned for all these parts. What was it like for you, kind of finding people to cast your baby?
It was really difficult.
Yeah.
It was really hard, but somehow the right people appeared, and I almost feel like, you know, there's a spirit to the play that draws the people, and some people, the cast has changed a lot over time. It wasn't linear at all. And then, like, I don't know how Kedrick appeared, but he did.
Part of the magic mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I received a phone call from William Blake.
Oh,
Just kidding.
It's a very magical audition process.
Yeah.
very magical.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, I'm calling you from 1800.
We didn't have phones then, but
It's okay. He's quite a trans-temporal being.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
You know that line from Kurt Vonnegut, I have become unstuck in time?
Yes.
It's a little like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I love the idea that William Blake is kind of haunting us, haunting this production. I love that idea.
Absolutely.
If anyone
I think
to haunt
he
us,
knew
it's a great.
that he was writing without a concern for the admiration of his contemporaries. And truly, his work completely disappeared. I mean, to some degree, the recovery of his work happened because some of his work was found in an attic. how much further, that was like 100 years later, almost.
Yeah.
How much, it was, maybe not quite 100 years, but it was, they discovered, and then his work started being recovered. You know, it's astonishing how much of it, you know, I think the Tate Gallery has
they've got
almost
quite a lot.
permanent exhibit of a lot of his work.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's kind of re-entered, and I think he kind of almost knew that, because you know, there's some sense that he acted with enormous confidence. Somehow he understood that later that work would gain importance and relevance. So it's almost like he wrote to the future.
He had that confidence that someone somewhere was going to resonate very deeply with what he did.
Yeah,
And it might not be here and now, but that's okay.
that's right.
So speaking of resonating with the work, you guys have been working on this, well, I mean, you've been studying William Blake for almost a decade. You have been working on the show for maybe not quite that long. But is there anything in the play that speaks specifically for you? And I mean, obviously it all speaks to you, but is there one particular moment that's standing out at the moment that's really speaking to you while you're doing this process?
I think for Jen, she's sort of this beacon of hope for our main character, Leaf, because she wants him to be more present in his life and wants him to live more fully and not worry so much and not be so concerned about how other people see him, as well as sort of how he's disconnecting himself from life in order to prevent being injured. And I love, she has this big monologue sort of in the middle where she talks about like the importance of just being true to yourself. And I know, it's so lovely. And I think that's such a nice moment, as well as just like true. We should all spend more time
Absolutely.
being more present and being ourselves. And
100%.
yeah.
That's a really important message, I think, for everybody. Yeah, for sure.
For me, it's really the opportunity to indulge deeply in Blake's poetry and to assume some of that character and poetic, prophetic aspect. So it's just a thrill to be able to work with those words in the context of a theatrical production with such fine actors that for me, that's a thrill. I really come to it more as a poet. So, and as a lover of Blake. I mean, when Will contacted me, what excited me initially was the very notion of playing William Blake.
Yeah.
You know? And so far it's paid off.
How many of you have done the Fringe before?
I have. Yeah.
About that?
Yeah.
But I was doing Fringe shows back in the early 1990s, so I've taken a long hiatus.
You did Fringe before many, many, many moons ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, many, many moons.
Has it changed much, do you think?
I think the spirit of the Fringe is the nature of how it brings together new works and provides a forum which is outside of the constraints of what becomes the theater industry, if one can even talk of that. But it, where you have to follow certain regulations and all that sort of thing. So this allows for way more experimental work to enter, to try things out, to step outside of, a given. And there's something about when you, because Fringe shows seem to me to strip bare a lot of the machinery of theater and leave it to the words and the acting to do all that work. So you don't really necessarily have big fancy sets. You can't strip them down every night and all that kind of thing. So what it does is it gives you, I think, raw theater. You see the ritual of theater. You see how when you're engaged in it in a moment, it can really alter your sense of reality. And in a way that it's not so much spectacle. A lot of theater turns into the spectacle of the lighting and all that kind of thing. I love the Fringe because it's bare, it's raw.
Yeah, it is.
It's real in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an artificial world you're creating, but
Yeah.
it draws you in because that's all there is, There's nothing faking you out to, amaze you with.
And it's just like
technology.
an opportunity to see so much theater in a short period of time.
Right.
Like you just have such a quick window in which to see so many things. So you get like this kind of tasting platter of all kinds of different things, drama, comedy, just clown work, mushroom trips. So you have lots of opportunities to see totally different things in a really short period of time, and that's so fun.
And what was your experience with the Fringe?
I had done My Aim Is True and then Net, which were 2 Fringe shows previous years.
At the Vancouver Fringe? Or?
Yeah, Vancouver Fringe, and we also did Victoria Fringe as part of kind of a tour for both of those.
Great. And you're new to the Fringe, or Fringe?
No, I did one like 7 years ago, but I've been writing like ritual poetic dramas for at least 15 years. I have a whole stack of plays, but I decided to write a new one. I could. I mean, I got my start at Columbia. One of my writing professors kind of like said, "I don't know if you're a novelist. Let's put this on the stage." And he did it all himself, and I was kind of blown away. And then since then I've just been writing like really experimental work that is perfect for like Fringe shows.
So you're gonna dust off some of the other
I would love
scripts
to,
that you've got in your back pocket and bring them out next year, maybe?
I would love to do that. Yeah. I have a big body of work, actually. Yeah.
Why should they come see your show? What's special about it? What would you want to tell audience members about it?
I think it's just kind of like a zany, fun mushroom trip you all get to experience together. So you get to kind of experience a little bit of William Blake's poetry and sort of these 3 different couples, and sort of just it's like the perfect snapshot of what theater should be. It's about connecting to people and being more present with people, and about all kind of celebrating human connection together. So
Lovely.
I know, now you've kind of stolen our thunder. There's really not much more to say. I think it also invokes the spirit of poetry and that visionary state through the work of Blake, and I think working with this particular group and cast, it's able to do that important work of theater, which is to manifest something in a kind of trans-temporal way and bring that very vigorous imagination and imaginative spirit into the present moment. So it seems to be heading in that direction, and I think that's a heck of a reason to come.
We also didn't mention there's music. So we have musician Mishi Mouet, who is incredibly talented, and she's going to be playing guitar and piano, and her songs are like, she set Blake's words to music, and like I've never heard such good renditions of his poems before. Like, it's amazing. And
gorgeous.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like interesting choreography. There's a wrestling scene, and there's some enactment of Blake's poem, The Chimney Sweep, and it's really taken a great direction with that. And just in terms of the script, like a lot of people from the Fringe, like real Fringe veterans, have like helped me work on the script and like really encouraged me more than I expected. And so the script I think is interesting, and it's attracted like really dynamic and passionate actors, so it's going to be a good play.
I think there's one other thing I'd add.
Yes.
Especially the way Will has reworked these different themes and the writing of Blake. It shows how important it is to a contemporary world. I think as a cast we often remark on, wow, that really seems to speak to the political world we're living in, seems to speak to the environmental conditions and crises that we live in. And so it bears great relevance. It's not, as Will said, it's not really a historical play. We're not trying to present, this was the life of William Blake. It seems to be more about how is this relevant to sorting out the world we're in today, which is full of chaos and confusion and terror and, enthusiasm for apocalypse, let's say. And this is a thinking through from a very deep perspective of some of those really important issues that people face.
Yeah, it's going to be a Blake experience.
Blake experience.
Yeah, and it's also going to be like equivalent to having a mushroom trip.
So hey, for the price of your Fringe pass, you get a free mushroom trip. I mean, what could be better than that?
The safest way to mess with your mind is theater, for sure. Have a theater trip instead of a mushroom trip. I think that's a great idea. We'll expand your mind through theater instead of through other things. So yeah, it sounds passionate, it sounds poetic, it sounds really vivid. I love William Blake's work, so I'm really looking forward to the show. My name is Danielle Benson, and I am here with the cast and creative team, or some of the cast and creative team of Auguries of Innocence, that is playing at the Culture Stark at this year's Vancouver Fringe Festival. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.